हैं बादा मस्त बादा आशा में अहमदियत चलता है दौर मीना ओ जाम अहमदियत.
What Rose said. And as you know, these days we're going through Tahrik Jadid, and Blabber Azur did mention a few points about Hazrat Muaz in terms of finance. I was mentioned this in Jummah today when I went to Birmingham. I was actually talking to one of the Khadims in Walsall actually yesterday, and he was telling me like how he had a bit of money left, about £50. But then he saw the messages about Tehreek Jadid that's ending tomorrow. So he decided that he would give that £50 to Tehreek Jadid. And of course, we hear stories all the time, but sometimes when it happens to you, you actually it increases your belief in Allah that He's actually there helping you. And because he just started working for the past few months, he hasn't been getting many clients. So his job hasn't been as active as it was before. But as soon as he gave this £50, very quickly he managed to get not one but three clients for his work that he does. And the salary or the payment that he got from the clients was triple of what he gave for Tehreek Jadid. And so he told me like, so he gave £50 and he got £150 within just a few days. And he told me that if I knew that Allah would bless me like this, I would have given more in the first place. I would have given probably £100, and Allah maybe would have given me £300 in return. So in that way, this is just a test. This bit when you're thinking about paying, or when you're thinking about giving some money for the Jamaat or giving Tahriq Jidu for whatever it is, it's almost like, Allah's just looking at us and saying, okay, let's see what he'll give me. Let's see what he'll give me. Let's see what investment he's going to give me. But Allah always looks inside your heart, and everyone has a different level. Everyone has a different capacity. And it doesn't matter how much it is. So with you guys as well, when it comes to these financial sacrifices, try and give it from your heart, and truly, when you give it, think that you're giving it for Allah, because Allah has given you that wealth, Allah has given you that position for you to be in, to be able to give it to the Jamaat. In return, Allah will give it, if it's through giving back in money, or if whatever other reason it would be. Sometimes for our own satisfaction, Allah does triple or quadruple our money in some ways, or He'll help us in other ways. Many people, when they're, for example, if they're struggling to have children, the advice is try and give financial sacrifice, and in that way, Allah will help you for that thing. So even if there's something in your life that you are searching for, you're praying for, and it's not happening, through your financial sacrifices, those things can happen. And that's why Allah says in the Quran that لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, that you will never attain righteousness until you spend from that which you love the most. And in these times, the thing which is dear to us, which keeps us comfortable, is our money. So it changes over time, but right now we're living in a time where spending or giving our own money, which gives us that relaxation that we are okay. It's from that thing that if you just believe in Allah, you put your trust in Allah, in return, Allah will give you that comfort, that you'll firstly get closer to Allah, but you've also helped someone in return. So really important topic, really important subject. Amr, have you ever gone through any examples? Maybe if you've gone through examples of yourself, or you've seen in your family some sort of financial sacrifice someone has made for you.
I think I can't think of anything now,
Hmm.
but obviously now I'm starting to realize how important it is, because I'm at that stage where I'm not, working, or not I'm not getting some sort of salary, but inshallah, when it comes to the stage where I'm able to afford to look after my family and have enough in my savings or whatnot, I can be able to, contribute some towards the Tahrik Jadid as well.
Yeah, inshallah. And that's Tahrik Jid for everyone, even for kids, even for people who aren't even born yet, even for people who have passed away. So Tehreek Jadid can be paid for anyone, and that's the beauty of it, and that's the essence of allowing everyone to take part in this blessing. And if we could have that spiritual eye, this eye which can see into heaven or into future, into the rewards that we will get, all of us will be running to give back to the Jamaat. But unfortunately, we don't have that. This the belief that we need to have, that Allah is there and supporting us. Hamza, I know you're on, so I'm going to do a better introduction for you later on. But I'm sure you have some sort of experience in this field of giving some financial sacrifice, if you're able to talk.
Assalamu alaikum, Rabbi Saab.
Walaikum salam. Good to hear your voice again.
So,
Sorry to put you on the spot, but
no, don't worry, nothing. In terms of obviously, so 5 years of university, I've always been in my overdraft. Only now I'm still in it, but I'm getting out of it slowly. And then obviously that's like it's 0% interest, but you're technically indebted to the bank, so to speak. But even in spite of that, it's just making it a habit that like when you spend on your basic necessities, food, water, all those things you do on a weekly basis. I've just always tried to, even if it's a minimum amount, maybe a few pounds, £4 or £5 every week, just try and make it a routine that it's that same routine expenditure that you do for all your other basic necessities. And then just doing that gradually over time, even for people who are maybe struggling financially a little bit. I think the key is give a little bit regularly rather than maybe hundreds of pounds all in one go, because you'll feel it a bit more. Obviously, when the time comes, you need to make that more sacrifice, like for the Beth of Fatul project from Tehreek Jadid recently. You'll be blessed more for those sacrifices. But I think if you just make it a habit of giving a little bit regularly, then there's barakat in it as well, even on a daily basis. Even if you give £1 or £2 for something on a daily basis, there's blessings in it without you even realizing. It just makes your day a little bit easier. It gets the day off to a good start, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's true. And that's what the Holy Prophet ﷺ always taught, is giving sadaqah in a small way but consistently is the best act, instead of doing big things. And he gave the example of sadaqah can be given in any form, even physically. And he gave the example of, even if there was a tree or a branch on the road, and even if you remove that every single day, because you're doing it consistently and you're helping people and you're helping clear their path, that is a very good act, and that can be replicated with your financial sacrifices as well. Even just giving a little bit, just to give yourself that satisfaction continuously, instead of making it such a big burden on yourself. But of course, both ways work as well. Sometimes you're in a position where you are required to give more than what you usually give, and sometimes it's that feeling, and that's the burning feeling that Allah wants from us. Sometimes you have to feel the sacrifice to be able to feel that satisfaction as well. And so many of us have experienced it. You will experience it, inshallah, in the future, when you have families, and it's not just about yourself. But if you understand that from a young age, and mashallah, all of you guys are young right now, then it will become much easier for you later on in life. And that's why we try to teach it from a very young age. And that's why Tahreek Jadid especially is for everyone, even for children. I myself have just started understanding that since my kids were born, and every year we're giving on their behalf, and they know exactly that we are doing that as well, because we tell them, not my youngest one because he's 9 months, but Ibrahim, who's 2.5, and we give him a bit of money as well, just so he can give sadaqah. So just getting them into the habit, it's really important. Jazakallah, Hamza. Abdul Hay Hamza Khan. See, that's why I said there's another Hamza as well. He said in the comments, I've experienced Allah's blessings just after planning to give chanda. It feels good, alhamdulillah. It feels so good, alhamdulillah. Hamza, if you can just elaborate, I don't know if you're able to talk. Abdul Hay Hamza, if you're able to talk, what do you mean by you experienced it? Could you tell us exactly what that means?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, I just recently, it was like, I've been married recently, about 2 years before. So I applied for my wife's spouse visa and it was delayed for some reason. And the day I gave my chanda, just after 2 days, she received a call from embassy that your passport's ready. And alhamdulillah, it was like after about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And recently, nowadays it's lockdown, and I applied for my citizenship, and I just planned to give chanda because I had some previous areas from Vasiyat. So I
Mm.
just planned, I spoke to Secretary Mal and discussed everything. And I just planned that okay, this much is spending. So I managed, okay, I every month I give this much. Now I'll give extra about 50, 100 up. And like whichever I can afford, every month I'll give extra. And in this much time, I'll pay them off. And about after a week, I got a letter that my citizenship has been accepted.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
So there's the recent experience, because nowadays it was just after like 2 months. In the
Yeah.
lockdown, like I've heard it's taking at least 4 months.
Mm.
But just after like planning, I've yet to start paying it. But just like I did a year, then
Yeah, mashallah, it's amazing. Okay, so that's about it from the financial sacrifice side. It's always very important to talk about it, and something which we should always continue doing throughout the year. And because the year is about to end tomorrow, it's a good idea, like Hamza said, to try and give a bit, like consistently. And one thing you can do is you can set up a standing order to just work out how much you want to give in the whole year, and just split it up within the 12 months to make it easier. Because sometimes we get to the end of the year and it becomes a lot. Like recently, I was told how much I promised, and I thought I fulfilled it, but then they told me how much I actually promised, and so I was like, oh, okay, I have to give a bit more than what I thought I'd already given. So it's good to always try and plan it out throughout the year.